Welcome to We Question and Learn. This is Tom Pies. We're celebrating our 18th year here on the air at WQLN FM 91.3. We are on NPR1 and about a dozen other podcast venues, so the programs are not difficult to find. Today, we have a very, very special guest. We have David Gibbons, president of UPMC Hamot, senior vice president of the Health Services Division, and market president of 3 UPMC markets, including Northwest Pennsylvania, New York, and North Central PA. David, this sounds like someone decided to put duties as assigned after your name.
No, I am honored to work at UPMC and serve different markets. And as you know, my career has progressed, and certainly with added responsibilities, I have a tremendous team from North Central PA to New York to Western PA. It's, I work with an incredible team and support system. So it's a pleasure.
Well, with the NPR1 reach of the program now, maybe you could give us a quick overview of the area that you serve. The UPMC
Sure.
platform, obviously coming out of Pittsburgh from my recollection, but you're up here in Northwest Pennsylvania. Could you give us a snapshot of your reach and your services?
Sure. So my oversight includes Erie proper for UPMC Hamot, and then in the northern tier of hospitals for us, it would include UPMC Chautauqua, UPMC Kane, UPMC Northwest, UPMC Horizon, and Jameson. And from Lawrence County to Chautauqua County, and then in North Central PA from Williamsport, Wellsboro, our Muncie Hospital, Charles Cole, and Lock Haven. So a total of 12 hospitals serving very, very different markets and many similarities across the markets. And, this past 2 years, certainly as we navigated the pandemic and treating patients with COVID-19 and the vaccination initiatives, many common initiatives. And each market, though, is somewhat different. And that's what really is enjoyable for me and certainly my team. And obviously our integration with UPMC, we share the same electronic medical record and platform across each of those regions and in the hospitals. And it makes operating and providing healthcare really seamless for the consumer.
Well, Erie, Pennsylvania, Northwest Pennsylvania, and of course, Hamot has something good to celebrate. It's the 10th anniversary of the affiliation in our community. Am I right?
Yeah, well, it's been just over 11 years now. And
okay.
it really has been quite exciting for us. And we've witnessed the growth and development of UPMC Hamot in a major way. And Hamot is the tertiary hub of the northern region for UPMC and the surrounding communities that span 2 to 3 hours away from Hamot.
Forgive me, yes, it was last year you celebrated the 10th.
Yes.
Could you just give an outline how that all came to be? I know people still say Hamot Medical Center. Tell us how this reorganization or organization came to be what it is today.
Sure. So, as you know, Hamot Medical Center was an independent hospital that flourished and certainly grew. And the board members and the leadership and the medical staff had the foresight to see the future of healthcare and recognize that they needed a partner to help them navigate into the future. And that's really what occurred. And through a very detailed process and review process, they selected UPMC as the best partner, not only for Hamot Medical Center, but really for the community. And the rest is history. Hamot has grown tremendously. There were many concerns initially that there would be an out-migration of patients to Pittsburgh, and we've proven that false every step of the way. Mm-hmm. In fact, there are almost 20% fewer people traveling outside of Erie since the affiliation. And we, have accomplished many great successes from physician recruitment to capital investment, et cetera, over the years. And I think very impressive for the public is that since the affiliation, we have invested over $410 million in capital projects. And that is just remarkable. And in transparency, Hamot Medical Center could have never accomplished that as an independent hospital. And that's really has been the strength of UPMC.
Let's talk a little bit about you. You've been in this position somewhere between 2012 and now. You've jumped up the ladder quite a bit. Could you tell us about that, if you would?
Sure. You know, I think it's important to share. I started my career, I grew up in Franklin, Pennsylvania.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
I love Franklin.
And I do too. Mm-hmm. And I'm a registered nurse by background. My clinical specialty is in oncology. And I lived part of my career in Philadelphia for 20 years in healthcare leadership. And I returned to Western PA. I'm an only child, aging parents, and I returned and to be the president of UPMC Northwest. And then from there, I came to Hamot to serve as their chief operating officer while I maintained the presidency role at Northwest, and then was appointed the president's position here, and have continued to, expand my oversight. And it's been a tremendous opportunity, and just to watch Hamot and the other hospitals grow and UPMC growing as well. It's very rewarding and extraordinary care that is provided at each of our hospitals.
Well, you did something interesting. You pioneered, or at least were involved directly with the UPMC transplant program.
Correct.
Establishing a kidney transplant program here in Erie. That's an amazing accomplishment. I guess they all thought they were going to be bust, so to speak, down south or wherever they decided to go. And this is the sign of the times, that you can get everything, so to speak, done here.
Right.
Am I close?
Well, sure. I'll share a little bit of information and background regarding the kidney program. Mm-hmm. We have Hamot has been a tertiary hub for a number of years, and UPMC's commitment, my commitment, is to continue to expand that and really broadening the level of services provided. There are less than 4% of hospitals in the United States that are transplant centers. And with the renowned Starzl Institute, for about 2 years, we planned the program. There are 3 accrediting bodies for transplant programs. It's a very regulated service to provide. And we established that program. And to date, we're approaching 90 transplants that have occurred at Hamot. And clearly, the power of the affiliation and the strength of the affiliation with UPMC, a clear example of that is the kidney transplant program. We have 6 extraordinary surgeons who practice at UPMC Presbyterian Starzl Institute, and they practice at UPMC Hamot. And without the affiliation, we could have never supported a transplant program here. And it's been remarkable. And I will share the most rewarding part of the transplant program clearly are the patients. And post-operatively, the patients they've been sick and not feeling well, many for years. And when they wake after surgery, they feel like they have a new life. And I'll tell you, that is a very treasured experience to witness. That care and the miracles that occur with transplantation.
Before we go on to some of the more complicated, and I'm going to call them more difficult technology questions, they're not that difficult for you, David, but it looks as you drive around Erie like the pandemic is over. And if you could just talk a little bit about what UPMC Hamot has done in the last couple of years and maybe offer some of your observations on this whole dilemma.
Sure. No, excellent question. we certainly have much more knowledge than we did at the beginning of the pandemic, or those few months leading prior to the pandemic, as we were witnessing what was occurring in China and other countries. And as a system, we work together. And that was really a very, very powerful moment to witness how we quickly pivoted as a system with every day, sometimes 3 or 4 times a day, town halls that occurred across all of UPMC's 40 hospitals. And really, from not knowing if we would have adequate supplies to having the supplies, how we distribute those supplies, to caring for our first COVID positive patients, not having in the country, not having enough testing supplies to test the public and the communities, to challenges with the supply chain. So the tests, the machines that we use, the supplies to operate these analyzers were in extreme shortage. So setting up an ethical way, a process to triage the testing of patients. These are challenges that we never faced prior to this at this magnitude. And we learned a lot, how we care for the patients, what clinical treatment looked like at the beginning of the pandemic and what clinical treatment looks like now are really very, very different. And all this time, really, it was the incredible team at Hamot and across the other UPMC hospitals, the frontline staff from patient registration, our nurses, our physicians, x-ray techs, et cetera. They were the heroes. They are the heroes who are on the front line every day, ensuring that these patients were cared for in the most compassionate way, but also in a very safe way, and safe to protect the employee, but also for their family and the patient themselves.
In all that, you also had to, if I'm right, had to offer education. Everywhere you turned, you heard a different story. And I heavily relied on professionals for my information. I felt obligated to do that. You can comment on that if you like, but I would also say that it was a challenge, I suspect, to keep everybody up to speed as well as do their daily duties during the pandemic.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, it definitely was a challenge. And I will share, I will revert back to the comment earlier regarding we had a very centralized, coordinated approach. And our chief scientists of the UPMC system, Dr. Graham Snyder, who leads infectious disease, and Dr. Donald Yealy, who leads emergency medicine, and he's the chief medical officer for the health services division of UPMC. They really led this, the pandemic initiative, and really grounded us in science. And you heard so many conflicting stories or guidelines in the media, and certainly, just in social context. And that was a tremendous benefit. So we did, and we continue to do so. We are very public in providing updates regarding COVID-19, safety measures associated with that, and really every media opportunity we feel obligated to participate to ensure the safety of the community. We also went door to door throughout the community, and many in our most areas that truly are lacking resources, we were there to support the communities and educating, distributing masks. And the Hamot Health Foundation was at our side every step of the way, and the Department of Health, the County Department of Health.
As you move forward, I think it's a year old, right? You've built a new patient tower for our community. Could you outline that for us, please?
Sure. Yeah, I say that one of UPMC Hamot's strengths is that, and accomplishments, is that during the pandemic, we were in the midst of our construction project for the largest capital project in Hamot's history.
Mm-hmm.
It is a $111 million patient care tower. And just like the hospital, the employees working on the construction site had to mask, practice social distancing, experience the same supply chain challenges that other industries are faced with. And we were able to complete the project ahead of schedule. And we really expedited that project, knowing that we needed more ICU beds. And today, it's been over a year now that the patient tower is open, and we expanded our ICU bed capacity from 42 to 64 ICU beds. And we've witnessed the growth of critical care at Hamot. And really, we serve the region because many of the hospitals in the region either have very limited ICU capabilities or no ICU capabilities. And during that time, we recruited physicians to continue and staff to continue the depth of service that we provide. And I will share with you that the patient tower was designed with the staff and the medical staff here. And they were the ones who assisted in the design. We had 3D tours of the before we put a shovel in the ground, and we finalized the plans, and we moved in, and it was a seamless transition. So it's been wonderful, and our families enjoy the larger space, and the views are spectacular, overlooking the bay, and without a doubt, the care is exemplary. So we really have broadened Hamot's presence in this region to serve the region for critical care medicine.
We're talking with David Gibbons, president of UPMC Hamot, and other duties as assigned. I don't want to read the whole list again. All I know is that you're one of the busiest people in our community, and we respect that. Over the last decade or so, UPMC Hamot has done many firsts in the community. Can we look forward? Are there more plans? The tower is an outstanding project. Can you maybe paint a picture of what you see your part of the waterfront looking like?
Sure. No, that's an excellent question. No, one of our key strategic initiatives is really developing and growing centers of excellence. And I will share that during the 10, 11 years since affiliation, we were the first hospital in the nation to introduce robotic bronchoscopy. Obviously, the first in this region to start a transplant program for kidney transplant surgery. The first hospital in this region to receive magnet designation, which is really the gold standard of nursing practice. And the only hospital to be a certified comprehensive stroke center, the only hospital to be a certified comprehensive cardiac care center. And, a number of clinical initiatives, that the first hospital to introduce cardiac MRI imaging, which is a very complex process with highly trained, fellowship-trained physicians and staff. The first hospital to introduce what we refer to as a TAVR, or the transcatheter aortic valve replacement. And so there are many firsts. Hamot is the busiest emergency department in the UPMC system. And it's also the busiest cardiac cath lab in the UPMC system. But we have a number of initiatives that are certainly ahead. And really, I would say, continue to watch for the centers of excellence. The team here is laser focused. We have a couple initiatives that are underway right now, but we're certainly would love to return later in the year to share with you some of those milestones that are currently underway to advance the clinical care at Hamot.
David, you mentioned the term tertiary hub. That's a positive designation. Can you explain that?
Sure. Clearly, Hamot is the tertiary hub of the North. And when you look at the depth of clinical services from, full-time 24/7 critical care medicine, critical care physicians are trained with advanced training to serve the very sickest patients. So we have that certainly as a major service line here. The trauma center, Hamot is the only trauma center in this region. The services that I mentioned, from the Comprehensive Stroke Center to the Comprehensive Cardiac Care Center, these are the most advanced levels of care, and they are here for the community. It's a breadth of physicians and specialists. It's the breadth of nurses in their training, our x-ray techs, our lab, our medical technologists in the lab, et cetera. All are laser focused and trained and practiced to the highest standard of care. We also have a major outreach to all of these communities, from Kane, Pennsylvania, to Chautauqua, New York, to Franklin and Oil City, to Mercer and Greenville and Newcastle. The list goes on, of a very strong presence there, either with a hospital or with our clinics, and really trying to keep the care local. And Hamot is here to serve the advanced care, from cardiac surgery or thoracic surgery, where those services are not available in the smaller regions, where they don't have the volume to support full-time specialists. Our women's program is second to none with the advanced care that we have with our primary OB services, as well as gynecology and all the subspecialties there. So it really is a center of excellence comprised of people who are highly trained, who are compassionate, and who are committed to participating to the highest standard clinically that has been established by numerous organizations.
In the last few minutes here, it seems that it probably is true that there's a shortage of good people, a shortage of staff, nurses, maybe even doctors. Could you talk a little bit about that relative to UPMC Hamot, if you'd like?
Sure. There's no doubt. Every industry today is challenged with staffing, recruitment, retention. The world changed. And the one commitment that we've made to the community is that, and this was preceding the pandemic, we recognize the challenges of staffing. We have different generations, have different outlooks, as we well know, and we recognize that. We started our School of Nursing, and it will graduate the first class in December, and there will be approximately 60 nurses who will join the Hamot team. But we're also strengthening the schools that we have across UPMC, expanding the capacity, and we are doing that very same thing with our School of Nursing. We are expanding our School of Nursing to double the class size to 200. So that's really a remarkable feat. And all during the pandemic, in the last 15 months, we have recruited over 38 physicians who are joining or have joined the UPMC Hamot staff. So really a remarkable list of accomplishments. And you will see, and certainly my commitment to you and to the community is, you will see that Hamot and UPMC will continue to grow and open centers of excellence for schools, for training community members.
As the chamber and the county try to attract people, businesses, industry, and just hard workers to move here, having a good medical center obviously is of huge value. I'm sure you folks have studied that, and you work with the county and the mayor, et cetera. What are your thoughts there?
No, we work very closely with with the county executive. We work very closely with the mayor, with the chamber, and there is tremendous collaboration. We also work very closely with the universities here, and we very closely, and we are proud to host their student rotations for their clinical education. Many of our staff serve as adjunct faculty. Our physicians participate with the education process as well, locally and regionally. And I would say to the community of Erie, the collaboration is really second to none in working with new businesses that are entertaining, starting an operation in Erie. We work very closely with the business, with the chamber. And likewise, we have many physicians that we recruit or staff that we recruit with a spouse who is interested in employment, whether it's in in a university or an industrial firm, we will work with those individual organizations to transition that couple to Erie.
Any thoughts on healthcare in the future? What's it going to be like? Or are you just going to be building models that directly service the community, like all these different units you've built here to service on the direction of your doctors, your staff, and the community? What do you see UPMC Hamot being like going forward?
Yeah, well, it will look very different. I think that's an excellent question. The future of healthcare, the future of medicine will look different. In that regard, we've seen the transformation of telemedicine, video medicine, and that continues to grow. We're using that in our physician practices. We provide telemedicine support to remote areas of the region. And certainly at a system level, we do that across the country and the globe. An example that we have is we have a telemedicine program for the emergency department at Kane. So our physicians in Erie provide care to patients in Kane, Pennsylvania via a telemedicine application. The healthcare world has changed. It's access, it's immediate access, it's patient portals, and we are responding to that in a very progressive way to meet certainly the community demand, consumer demand, and things seem a little less traditional. In my lifetime, at the beginning of my career in healthcare, it was unheard of that you would have a visit with your physician over a cell phone when we didn't have cell phones at the time. Yes. And here we are today. It's a very common practice. And for some people, that's not acceptable. For other people, that's 100% acceptable. And it is the preferred way for them to receive their health care.
David Gibbons, President UPMC Hamot, thank you very much for taking the time out of your busy day to sit down and do this recording. We really appreciate all the insights you've given us. A quick thanks to Karen Beardsley for helping to arrange this. And I hope we can talk to you again to see what's happening down on the Bayfront and everywhere else from here to Pittsburgh and east and west. We can't create a line of demarcation for you anymore. And maybe we can talk about affiliations and different patient and community services you provide or will provide at that time. David Gibbons, thank you very much.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity, and I look forward to our next interview.
WQLN PBS NPR's Community Advisory Board will hold a public meeting on Wednesday, June 29th at noon at the Tom Ridge Environmental Center located at 301 Peninsula Drive in Erie. The public is welcome to attend.
This week on Jazz Happening Now, we meet composer, arranger, bandleader, and multi-instrumentalist Chris Torkowitz. His just-released concert recording shows off 3 different musical groups, playing Chris's original compositions. We'll hear new music from heavyweights Steve Davis and Doug Webb, John Scofield's first solo guitar record, and saxophonist Noah Preminger's newest. This week it's all on Jazz Happening Now from PRX.
Sunday evening at 6 on WQLN NPR.
It's the Great Erie Recipe Book, but it's nothing without you. In support of the Great American Recipe on PBS, WQLN is compiling a cookbook featuring all local recipes. Share yours at WQLN.org/recipe. Presented in partnership with Erie Food Co-op.
Welcome to We Question and Learn. This is Tom Pies. We're celebrating our 18th year here on the air at WQLN Public Media. We're on NPR One as well and about a half a dozen other podcast venues, so the program is not hard to find. All the programs are archived there in case you want to go back and listen to something that you remembered was interesting. Today, 2 very special guests. I'm so proud to have them both here because this is a great topic. It's an important topic, actually. And Becka Swick is with me right now on the phone. And Becka, you are the Director of Marketing and Public Education for the Sight Center of Northwest Pennsylvania.
For their National Diabetes Prevention Program.
Excellent. And your title for the Sight Center itself, please?
I guess it would be the same title.
Same thing, okay. Oh, that goes under duties as assigned. So you're in good shape and you're doing a good job. And Lana Kunick, you're technically or officially, let's say, the program director. Am I right?
Correct.
Okay, I got one right. So we're on our way. And let's just start with about a minute or so talking about where you are, and that's at the Site Center of Northwest Pennsylvania. Now, you're up on West 26th Street there. Talk a little bit for a minute, if you would, about the Site Center first.
Sure. The Site Center, a lot of folks locally are very familiar with us because they've had family members or friends that have utilized our services over the years. We are an 83-year-old nonprofit that is housed here in Erie, Pennsylvania. And you're right, we're at 2545 West 26th Street. For anybody that, throughout this program has questions, our direct dial number at the center is 814-455-0995. But as a whole, our organization came to be to help those with blindness and profound vision loss to remain independent. The other aspect that we really try to cover and serve in the area is the prevention of blindness where possible. So we really kind of wear two hats. As far as keeping people independent, we do a lot of transportation. We get people to and from medical appointments and critical services that they need within the community. As far as the prevention of blindness, we do, oh my goodness, so many preschool vision screenings every year. And then what we're going to talk about today, which is the Diabetes Prevention Program. That is the national program, and the Site Center does deliver that program because diabetic eye disease is the leading cause of blindness in our country. And
you're a licensed registered. Oh, let me get this correct. You have about 3 titles here. I thought this said LPN, but
yeah, I'm kind of a jack of all trades and master of none.
No, these are degrees, folks. These are real degrees you have listed here.
Yeah, no, I started out as a social worker, and I did get a master's degree in public education, and I am also a licensed practical nurse. And most recently, and I think most proudly, I am now a certified lifestyle coach to instruct the National Diabetes Prevention Program.
That's fabulous, because that's exactly what folks need who are facing that dilemma, so to speak, in their lives. And one last question for you. You can tell us how you got involved with the Site Center.
Well, I have a crazy history. My father was actually the executive director here for many decades.
Yes.
So this agency is very, very special to me for many reasons. But they were looking for a social worker a few years ago, and I kind of fell back into that position. And when I really started learning about this program that Lana has been running for so many years, so masterfully, my heart has always been in disease prevention. So it was just a no-brainer to come on board with her and really help to try to promote this program.
And that's the perfect segue, Lana. That's your cue. You are the program director. Tell us a little bit about you and your duties.
Sure. I'm the program director here at the Site Center. I'm also a lifestyle coach and a master trainer for the program. I began this journey about 10 years ago when I worked for the Erie County the Erie County Diabetes Association. We started, I went to Pittsburgh, the University of Pittsburgh. I became certified, and I brought the program to Erie under that umbrella, under the Diabetes Association. We closed our doors in 2017 there, and Linda Moore, the CEO of the Site Center, and I were collaborating, figuring out how we could bring this program to the Site Center to help prevent blindness. And we decided that the best way to do it was just to bring me in and begin. So we started our first class here as a staff. Every employee of the Site Center joined this diabetes prevention program.
Excellent.
Yeah. Right. And it's wonderful because everyone here is invested. They know what the program is about. And I like to believe that when they graduated, they were quite a bit more knowledgeable on health and nutrition. So, and their risk for diabetes were decreased.
Well, now we've framed all that, and that was an excellent outline, by the way. Let's talk about diabetes, the types of diabetes, and both of you can go right in and explain how this is a serious situation, so to speak, for Northwest Pennsylvania.
Sure. Well, the form of diabetes that we focus on in the program is the prevention of type 2 diabetes.
Mm-hmm.
Type 2 just means that your body does not produce insulin properly. And some of that can be due to genetics, such as, family history that causes you to have insulin sensitivities. But a lot of it has to do with lifestyle change. And that's where our program comes in. Our program, the National Diabetes Prevention Program, is a lifestyle intervention. So we work with the type 2 people with pre-diabetes to prevent the onset of type 2. There's also type 1 diabetes, which is usually diagnosed earlier on, and where lifestyle interventions are still important. It's not.
Yeah, type 1 is more an autoimmune situation where
Mm-hmm.
there is no production of insulin.
Mm-hmm.
So, there is kind of limited impact that those type of things can have. Obviously, living a healthful life is important for everyone. Yes. But we really try to work on, the stuff that we can actually prevent and reverse, which does focus on the type 2, if that makes sense.
Yes. You're affiliated with a larger program, the National Diabetes Prevention Program. Could you talk about that and how did that all start?
The National Diabetes Prevention Program was created in 2010. It was created to address the increasing burden of type 2 diabetes and prediabetes in the United States. The study took place over a span of 20 years. And throughout that 20 years, they introduced 3,000 individuals to different interventions to help decrease the risks of diabetes. So one of the interventions was metformin, a medication that is used to decrease the onset of type 2 diabetes. The second intervention was a placebo, just to see if mind over matter would help decrease your chances. And the third intervention was the DPP, this diabetes prevention program, lifestyle change. At the end, just in a quick nutshell,
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the study, it showed that people who took metformin, yes, the medication did decrease the risks of diabetes by 31%, but those who took place in the lifestyle change decreased the risk by 58%, and those over the age of 60 decreased their risk by 71%. So when the CDC got a hold of this, it was a no-brainer. They had to put their stamp of approval on this program because the proof is in the pudding. Lifestyle intervention is more effective and is the first line of defense against diabetes before medication.
So how does this program benefit a person who you consult or who comes to you for advice?
When they come into the program, they are assigned a certified lifestyle coach that works with them on achieving two big goals. So the number one goal is to lose 7% of whatever their starting body weight is, their baseline weight. And the second goal is to increase their physical activity to 150 minutes per week. And that just boils down to 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week. And all we ask of them is just for a brisk walk. So they can choose to do whatever they want, if they want to swim or go to the gym, but we don't put a lot of expectations. Let's just get walking. Now, those are two main goals, and there's a lot that goes under those goals, such as cognitive restructuring, label reading, portion control, all of those things that can be very difficult in this world to do with busy lives, and if you just don't have the skills yet to do those things. The reason that 7% weight loss is assigned is throughout this study, they're finding that a 7% weight loss is enough to bring down your blood pressure, your triglycerides, your cholesterol, and your blood sugars. So that's your number one goal, lose 7% of whatever your starting body weight is. And you do that alongside a coach who's using a Center for Disease Control recognized curriculum to help you achieve that goal.
So there's some expectations to change the lifestyle, but they're not that difficult. You're not asking people to do 100 push-ups, run 10 miles, or get into some outlandish aerobics at a gym. This is just common sense to some degree, right?
It is. It's common sense. And what your coach does and the group does is it helps keep you accountable. And the fact that the program is a 12-month lifestyle intervention ensures that once they graduate the program, they've had enough opportunity to really learn and apply what they've learned through lifestyle. This is not something that we can do in 6 to 8 weeks. We are working with people who are reversing habits that most likely have taken hold of them when they were children. So it's an ongoing 12-month lifestyle intervention. And that seems scary to some because that's a commitment. But I believe that that's one of the main reasons that this program is so successful.
So diet is critical. Do you consult in that area as well?
We give a lot of nutrition guidance. So we are facilitators. The coaches are facilitators, and we're guides. We stick to the curriculum, and the curriculum is awesome. So anything that participant needs to know, such as meal prep, fat and calorie intake recommendations, sodium intake, it's all there with reputable resources. And what we do as the coaches, we reinforce that curriculum.
So the National Diabetes Prevention Program, how long have they been around, and did they establish the benchmarks for these programs? Did they do the research, so to speak?
Yes, they did the research and they established the milestones or the benchmarks for the program, which are what we spoke about earlier, that 7% weight loss, that increased physical activity. And there's also, the physical activity, and also there are other wellness markers that we report to the Center for Disease Control, such as what were your blood glucose numbers when you arrived in the program, and what were they when you exited the program. So just because the National Diabetes Prevention Study has completed, we still are giving ongoing data that proves that this program is effective at preventing disease.
This is somewhat recent, may I guess in the last 10 years, last 5 years, where it's become critical in our society?
Well, Congress actually adopted this program in 2010.
Okay.
And right now, I believe, Lana, if I'm correct, 48 states are attempting to deliver this program right now. So 48 out of 50 of our United States are really making this a priority and reaching out to our communities through agencies such as the Site Center. So they try to find agencies that will give this program a home and do the work for it to deliver it to the community. It is so critical because, most of us, we are not aware of the prevalence of prediabetes in our community. We can say that in our area, of those people who are not diagnosed as diabetic, a third of those people that are not currently diabetic are actually pre-diabetic. And I mean, that's, to me, those odds, I don't like that. If I'm standing in a room with two of my friends, I'm going to look at my friend to the left and my friend to the right, and I know that one of the three of us probably has pre-diabetes. And those are not odds that I want to play.
That's scary. Now that reflects back on our lifestyles, our eating habits, sitting at desks all day long, probably.
Definitely.
Yeah.
The medical community, they're really calling a sedentary lifestyle the new smoking.
Wow.
So that's a pretty profound statement. And again, you mentioned something, Tom, that I really think is worth expanding. This program is not something radical. The reason that, I really think that it's effective is it is just delivered in such how shall I even say, it's just such an easy pace that I find that a lot of the participants I work with, they're shocked and amazed when they come in and on a weekly basis, they see their weight going down, they feel their energy increasing, and they say, geez, we really didn't do anything that radical. We're just reading some labels and making a few different choices, but it really is amazing. It's like pennies in the jar, those good decisions, they really add up. And that's why this is a program that can be sustained through a lifetime. It's not asking you to give up a whole food group or, go on some crazy diet. We really try to stay away from that word. I mean, this is a different focus on a healthy lifestyle overall.
Now, are there group programs? Do folks get together? Do you have classroom training as well?
Currently, all of our programming is in person. We do groups of about 10, around 10 to 15. And that's really another beautiful aspect of the program is the in-person group setting. A lot of our participants become friends and they talk to each other outside of group. They support one another outside of group. So if when we interview our participants and we ask them, what are some of the things that you found most valuable about the program? That network of support that they receive from their group is top of the list.
We're talking with Becka Swick and Lana Kunick from the Site Center of Northwest Pennsylvania. Becca, could you talk about the reach of the site center? You mentioned 4 counties, or give us a little bit of a geographic picture of how far you folks travel.
Right. So for the National Diabetes Prevention Program, which is this program under the auspice of the Site Center, we are in the 4 counties that Lana had mentioned, Erie, Crawford, Venango, and Warren, currently with our sites to spread out further throughout Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm.
The Site Center itself, the official title, of course, is the Site Center of Northwest Pennsylvania. The Site Center covers the northwest counties, 7 of the northwest counties in Pennsylvania for services such as transportation for those who are blind or low vision. And then, of course, we have sister agencies throughout the remainder of Pennsylvania that covers the entire state for those types of supportive services.
And of course, there's a national program that you interface with as well.
Absolutely. That's where Lana comes in. This is all, boy, she has her hands full getting all this information back, because, what we really want to do is we want to keep expressing that, this program is necessary. It is making a difference. And, our catchphrase is, we really want to turn the tide of preventable type 2 in our community because it's rising. We do see that rates, especially in adolescence, is growing as far as type 2 diabetes, and that's scary.
Yeah. Are you talking about overweight children, children with bad diets, obviously children with symptoms of diabetes?
All of that, and unfortunately, and this isn't blaming anything, it's the world we live in. But we do have to take steps to really, really reverse that. Not to age myself or anything, but, we didn't, when we were kids, a lot of us, we didn't play video games all the time. We, went outside. We didn't have access to fast food 24/7. I mean, now you don't even have to drive through the drive-through to get your Big Mac. You can have it delivered to your door.
Yes.
We just live in such an automated society that, there's no blame here. But the fact is, throughout the normal course of a day, we don't get the exercise that we used to get. We don't have the more healthful home-cooked meals that we used to have. It's not, again, it's not a blaming situation, but if we want to reclaim our health, we do have to really put in the time to be active and get the good fruits and vegetables into our diet and really be accountable for that, or we're going to pay the price.
Can we talk about your lifestyle coaches? How does one get to be one? What are the qualifications necessary? How many do you have?
We currently have 5 lifestyle coaches on our fleet. We call it a fleet of coaches, and we are looking for more. What we do is we hook them up with a recognized training site. So you have to work through specific CDC recognized training sites. And since the pandemic, one silver lining is these coaches are able to do this training via internet. So they can do it through their computer. It's a 4-day training, 4 days, 8-hour training. You don't have to have any special requirements. You don't have to be an LPN or an RN. You just have to be a self-motivated person with an understanding of health and wellness. And you have to be able to interface with all different types of people in all different walks of lives. And myself, as the director of the program, I have a strict policy that I will only open our invitation to coaches who are empathetic. We only hire empathetic coaches because we need the person to be in the feeling, because this is a lot about nutrition, but this is also a lot about understanding why people do what they do.
This is a big deal nowadays. I'm guessing that you find quite a few volunteers
for the life coach position. Wouldn't that be lovely? I would love to have volunteers who would want to do this program, because it's not, I guess I'm speaking for myself and maybe Becca, we're very passionate about what we do. It's not a huge time commitment if someone wanted to come in and take a cohort or 2, and really it is uplifting to see the changes that you are helping people make, see their energy levels and their spirits be lifted and their health improving. It is well beyond worth it, I guess, would be how I would put it. It's a wonderful experience, and you get to meet so many amazing people. And really, you learn along the way too as a coach. You're learning life lessons.
Listening to the two of you, it's also very gratifying, I can tell. I can see you both are enjoying yourself as well.
It is amazing, Tom. I'm so thankful to have been brought on. I've only been doing this for a year. Lana's been doing it for 10 years.
Wow.
I have to say this has been a year of, sometimes in life you kind of wonder if you're making an impact. You try really hard with what you're doing. In coaching this program, like Lana said, you see people come back from, their follow-up checkups and they're like, my doctor was so happy. I'm getting down, because we also see people, they really do. They get out of that pre-diabetic range. They get out of like what we call the danger zone. And that's a very good feeling. That's very freeing. And we always tell people, little changes mean a lot. I know this is one that Lana always uses, but when you lose 1 pound of body weight, you take the equivalent of 7 pounds of pressure off of your joints.
Wow.
So
is that an indication of something nowadays, isn't it?
That's pretty doggone important to tell people. It's those little victories. So, you can have somebody that comes into your program, they lose 6, 7, 8 pounds, and they feel like a new person already. Right. And the goodness, it just is, I say it's like falling down that really good hill.
Yeah.
It gets better and better.
Now, this may be a tough question and maybe there's no good answer, but do you have relatively healthy people come in and ask for help?
That makes sense. We get a mixture. As a prevention program, it's just in the title, prevention. So a lot of people aren't as compelled to reach out if they're not feeling symptoms yet. But we do get a lot of doctors' referrals through blood draw. So they'll see that participant's in the prediabetes range. They might feel okay, but they still give us a call and say, hey, what can you help us do? And we give them the background of the program. But I would say the majority of people that come into our program are experiencing fatigue, or their blood work just isn't looking right. Their triglycerides are rising, and they just want to know, what can I do? A lot of people have the low energy, hurting ankles, hips, all of that stuff that comes along with age at some point. Mm-hmm. But also, like Becca shared, when they start to change the way they're eating and they start to move their bodies and lose the weight, it seems like that just fades away. Their energy levels are increased. They're able to get up and down off of the floor, and that keeps them coming. And currently we're at about an 83% retention rate for a year-long program. And what that says to me is, it's not, that Becca and myself and our coaches are so amazing. It's that once you feel good, you don't want to quit. You want to continue moving on and learning more so that you don't have to be sick any longer.
The equivalent of a runner's high, so to speak, without all the running, right?
I like that, yeah.
Becca, as you get into these programs, the diabetes program, the National Diabetes Prevention Program, and all the hard work you're doing, that came, as we inferred earlier, from the concept that losing your sight is like a trigger. It lets you know that there's another biological thing going on. In this case, we're talking about diabetes causing vision loss. And either one of you can answer this. Are there other things that happen to folks that are typical?
As far as with the diabetes?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. So prediabetes and diabetes, they walk hand in hand with so many other things such as heart disease, stroke. Lana, help me out here.
Amputation.
Oh,
mm-hmm.
Yes.
Oh, gosh, yes. Mm.
And not only diabetic retinopathy, but if you have diabetes, you're at higher risk for many different eye diseases, glaucoma. Diabetes puts you at higher risk for memory loss, early onset dementias. It comes with a slew of other not so great side effects other than just vision loss.
And let me just ping pong off of that. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, COVID.
Yes.
We are seeing more and more research that shows diabetes is one of the most dangerous comorbidities along with COVID. Your body is working so hard to stabilize your sugars at all times. You don't have the energy to fight off infection and things like that. So, I mean, just in this day of who knows when the next strain is coming along, the healthier and more hardy you can be to face whatever is around the corner, you really want to put that wellness in your pocket and make that investment, because we are seeing so many diabetic complications with COVID.
And of course, people just don't have one malady, it seems nowadays. They go to the doctor and they're on 3 or 4 scripts, this being one of them. It's an eye-opener to hear you folks talk about this. Do you have plans for the next couple of years relative to expanding the program? How could folks help you out?
We do. We have plans to move across the state, really. I mean, our vision is to not compete with other diabetes prevention programs across the state, but complement. So within the next 2 years, we're looking to be in the central PA area. And how people can help would be, we do need lifestyle coaches for sure. Physicians, we need to increase our physicians' referrals. We actually call them recommendations, because you can be a self-referral. You don't have to enroll in the program through a doctor's referral, but patients take their doctor's referrals very seriously. And we see a conversion rate from interest to enrollment is much higher when that interest came from a doctor's referral. So we need our doctors to really think about this. We went to every physician in this area and gave them recommendation pads. Just write out the recommendation, let the person call us. And another thing you can do is take a risk test. You can call us here, take a 30-second risk test. It's a series of, I think, 8 questions. And what it does is determine, are you at risk for developing type 2 diabetes? And if you are, what can you do today to start decreasing that risk?
Very important point. How do folks get in touch with you and talk about the website, if you would?
Sure. The easiest way to get a hold of us and take a risk test is just to simply call us. And our phone number here at the site center is 814-455-0995. And, you would ask for Lana or Becca, and we'll give you that test right over the phone.
Fabulous.
And then we also do have a website if you want to get on the site and learn more about the program. And it is www.sitecenter.nwpa.org.
Right. Any last thoughts? Let's go back to planning for the future. If someone wanted to participate in the program, be it a life coach, or better yet, maybe a physician is listening to this and they would like to help out, talk about that if you would.
Well, definitely. If anyone feels that this is calling to them as far as, potentially becoming a lifestyle coach and helping to deliver the program, please definitely, as Lana said, call the site center at 814-455-0995. Ask for one of us and we will have that discussion. If there is a physician, a nurse practitioner, a dietitian, a physical therapist, anyone in the medical community that touches the lives of people in our community. If you see someone that is struggling with, being overweight, being pre-diabetic, not getting the activity that they need and needing that guidance, please do not hesitate to, refer to the program. If for some reason someone calls in and it's just not a good fit, we will make sure that you have the resources to get what you need elsewhere. We just want to make sure. I mean, my personal feeling is it scares me to death that a third of our population is pre-diabetic. The other piece is 90% of those people who are pre-diabetic have no idea about it.
Isn't that scary? It's right in front of your nose and you don't realize it.
It's really scary. And here's the thing. Our first step is we want people who are pre-diabetic to just know it. And then it's their choice to do something about it or to, wait for the diabetes to come to pass. It just should be your right to know that you have this going on and that you do have a choice. You don't have to go down that road. There are things steps that you can take, and we're here to guide through that. So never a silly question about your health and welfare or your eyesight. Our main, I guess, ask today is, call the center with any questions that you would have related to prediabetes or type 2 diabetes or lifestyle situations, and we will definitely do our best to help you out.
Well, Becka Swick and Lana Kunick, you're both outstanding individuals in your field. I can say that because I can hear it in your voice. I can hear it in your expertise. We want to thank you for participating in this program today, and thank you for the good education.
You're so welcome. Thank you, Tom.
Yes, thank you.